You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show, live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome to the Dre Area Sports Show with Dre and Drew. What's going on, you guys? Drew, how are you doing this morning?
Another day, another hard dollar, dog, like Garrison Hearst used to say.
Garrison Hearst. You know, it's funny you bring up Garrison Hearst because he was actually the original Madden curse player.
His leg like fell apart the year
in 2002. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it.
I was at the opening game in 1998 when he ran that 98-yard touchdown against the Jets.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
In overtime, I was there with my dad.
With your dad? Wow.
I was there with my dad watching the game, and then that year when they played the Falcons in the playoffs, his leg just like broke in two.
Yeah, he was already kind of a weathered running back too because he had played for Arizona.
He had already come back from an injury.
Yeah, exactly. So, but guys, welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking a lot about, of course, the San Francisco 49ers, but we're going to touch on some other Bay Area news as well. One of the things I want to bring up, and this was big fucking news that I wanted to share with you today. It's regarding the San Francisco Giants and their decision to finally DFA Lamont Wade Jr. It's about fucking time.
I've been calling for this, Dre, people have heard me on this show. I've been calling for this since opening day. And really last year, Lamont Wade Jr., he was a Farhan Zaidi find. And I was just reading some articles about it this morning. He was, Farhan Zaidi, one of those guys. He was a reject with the Minnesota Twins, and Farhan brought him in, and he was the guy, right? The on-base percentage.
Yeah,
he was the guy that gets on base.
He was the Scott Hatteberg of his Moneyball.
Can't play any defense. Yeah, he can't play any defense. But dude, 167 this year, 1 home run, and honestly, just deer in headlights up there. And I'm so glad that Buster Posey did this, along with DFAing Sam Huff and optioning Christian Koss to bring in Dom Smith, who maybe we'll talk about here in a minute, who might give them a veteran, presence and some offense. But yeah, oh my God, Lamont Wade was just reeking up there.
I don't know why he was there for so long. I was like, man, get this guy out of here. Like, look, he had a good year a couple years ago in that crazy year.
They all had a good year that year.
And even last year, I will say last year he had a good year until he got hurt and we never saw him again. And then when he came back, it was never the same. But this season, he never got it going from the start. Was always a constant disappointment at the plate. And look, if you're playing first base, and you can't hit for power, you can't hit for average, and you can't get on base, you got to go. It's not going to get it done. And the Giants really put themselves in this hole because they should have targeted a guy like Pete Alonso or a hard power-hitting first baseman, and they didn't do that. They got Willie Adames, who's been struggling all year, but they needed to get 2 bats, and they only got 1. And I really thought going into the Buster Posey era that they would let him get at least 2 bats this past offseason. But having said that,
it just wasn't enough. What they came into the season with, and we talked about this earlier in the year, that they look great. Their pitching has been awesome. Their starting pitching. I mean, you cannot get 2 better starting. You cannot get 2 better starting performances the last 2 nights. Not freaking 8 scoreless innings from Logan Webb, and 6 1/3 scoreless innings from Landon Roop last night. You cannot get better pitching than that. And I do not. I know people are talking, oh, Duvall, fuck Duvall this morning. No, like Duvall has been carrying us the last few weeks.
He's been great all year.
The whole bullpen, the whole starting rotation has been carrying this team. And for guys like Lamont Wade, for guys like Willie Adames, even Jung-Hoo Lee now has come way back down to earth.
I know
they are struggling mightily at the plate right now, and if they don't get it figured out, and Buster Posey knows, that's why they're making these moves today. He has not been making moves like Farhan Zaidi made, where he was making, like, literally we saw a guy on Monday and he was gone by Tuesday morning. I mean, that was Farhan Zaidi, but he needed to make these moves today. So so kudos to you, Buster.
Well, he had to make a move. I mean, to me, this was too little, too late. Like this should have happened a while ago. But look, he's a players kind of guy. Maybe he wanted to give Wade a chance. But you talk about the pitching that has been carrying this Giants team. Well, not only that, but we got Robbie Ray winning Pitcher of the Month, NL Pitcher of the Month. And this guy, Robbie Ray, he's been pitching great, but he always looks like he hates being here. But I think it's just a look on his face. But what do you think about Robbie Ray and what he's done this season?
He's been awesome. It's been great to have him. I said it. This was a great move by Farhan last year to bring in a guy off Tommy John, but he was definitely had the potential. Former Cy Young Award winner with Seattle, and had some great experiences with Arizona. This guy, he's pitched in our division, and I thought it was a great move. Now I know it's a great move because he has got electric stuff. But yeah, Tommy, this offense, it just
makes me want to puke.
This offense is literally just like debilitating this team.
Yeah.
They have to score 3 or 4 runs a night. They cannot continue to score 1 or 2 runs a night. They will be 10 games out before you blink an eye if this continues. So Robbie Ray is great, but it's not going to matter if they don't hit.
I think what they got to do is they got to reshuffle the lineup. I don't like Jung Hoo Lee hitting the 3-hole. I think Jung Hoo Lee he needs to go back to being a leadoff hitter. And to be honest, I think that Elliot Ramos needs to be more of a number 3 or number 4 hitter in this lineup. They'll probably bat him second because they love it. They love him batting leadoff, which he's not a leadoff hitter. He's not. On any other team, he would not be a leadoff hitter. But they do it because he gets good at bats. He takes a lot of pitches. Yep. He works the count. Jung Hoo Lee needs to go back to being the leadoff hitter, and their biggest hole is your 2-hole hitter, which would probably end up being Elliot Ramos. But
Ramos has been great. Ramos has been great. He was our offense last night again. But another guy that needs to go, Mike Yastrzemski. He's got to go. He's 3 for his last 42. He came in last night to pinch hit and had a 2-0 count and just popped it up in the 9th inning. When you need a guy on base, they brought back Jehar and Encarnacion. He looks like a freaking slob out there on the field.
Oh, he looks like Bigfoot.
He's like a weirdo, dude.
Yeah,
and he can't hit worth a shit. I know he had a little bit last year. I'm telling you right now, and I'm telling the viewers, Bryce Eldridge will be up before August.
He has to at this point. You have to see what you got.
He just got promoted to AAA yesterday.
Yeah.
He will be up because
they're trying to fast track him.
They have to because it is no longer an old man's game. If you look around the league, you've got to have young and upcoming stars.
That's it. And you got to do it. He's more athletic. He's younger, has more power, has more potential. You have to give him the opportunity because what you're getting out of first base is absolutely nothing. We talked about Lamont Wade's number, or I should say his numbers. Yes. And I'll bring it up right now.
Let me get my garbage can so I can puke, Tommy.
I know. Here it is: 167, 1 home run, 15 RBIs. I mean, the guy is.
And even last year, Dre, they were all, everybody was raving about him early in the season. He only had like 10 RBIs, and he had like 4.
He was just getting on base, and that's what was great about it. And he was hitting at the top of the lineup. He was hitting right behind Jung Hoo Lee. And so it was like, okay, cool. But look, the times are over. Jung Hoo Lee is not a 3 hitter. I know that they wanted him there for his RBI abilities, but he needs to be leading off. He needs to work on getting on base and adding speed to the base paths.
That's right.
And I'd probably put a guy like Matt Chapman at number 2. His stats have shown
what about Fitzgerald?
Fitzgerald will be another one. But if you look at Chapman's stats as a number 2 hitter, he hits better in the 2-hole than he has in any other spot in the lineup in his career. So let's say you put Jung Hoo Lee, Matt Chapman, and then from there you go right into Elliot Ramos, Willie Adames, Patrick Bailey, whoever
Wilmer
else you want to call him. Wilmer Flores. I know. I love Wilmer. I love that guy.
Yeah, but it's like at some point it's gonna be like, Wilmer, we've had enough of you too. I mean, they've got to get younger.
They got to get younger.
They've got to get younger, and they've got to get more power in their lineup because if you look around around the league, even San Diego, the Padres who have been in town for a couple of days, their lineup it just doesn't stop when it comes to.
It doesn't stop.
When it comes to power.
It's younger, powerful, more potential, and then not only that, but it's like. Wilmer Flores, right? I fucking love the guy. He's one of the leaders in RBIs this season because he got off to a hot start. But when you talk about Wilmer Flores, that's like saying, like, hey, man, My fucking 99 Honda Civic, I just drove to LA and back. The shit's I fucking love this car. It never fails. But in the back of your head, you're like, I gotta get a new car. You know what I mean? It's like yeah, he's all reliable, but that's not the future. That's an ancillary player that's like, hey, if he is like your DH or he's your backup first baseman, great. Love it. You know what I mean? You're like, that's great.
You want to hear my lineup? This is my lineup.
Okay, what's your lineup? What's your lineup?
My lineup is Jung-Hoo Lee, Tyler Fitzgerald, Elliot Ramos, Bryce Eldridge, Marco Luciano. I'm telling you, dude, Marco Luciano, he's
killing it in AAA.
He's going to play somewhere, first base. Okay. Matt Chapman, who needs to be in the lineup because of his hitting. Patrick Bailey, who needs to be in the lineup because of his defense. And I don't give a fuck who else. But Bryce Eldridge and Marco Luciano, they have to be in the lineup. They have to, because this team is just wasting away offensively right now.
They absolutely are.
Me off.
Yeah, no, it's a fucking joke. You're like, man, what is going on?
They should have won both of the last 2 games because they gave up. Their pitching staff gave up a total of 4 freaking runs.
They fucking dominated. They lost 1-0 and they lost 3-2 last night, which is like, come on, you can't even score a run in one of these games. Like, get the fuck out of here.
And they can't score when they have the ghost runner on second base. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. I'm not okay with this. I was pissed off. I wasn't sad or I was mad today about that game last night.
I know Doval had the blown save because he gave up the lead, but the guy has an outstanding ERA. He's been pitching so well for us. He's now our closer because Ryan Walker has been struggling.
Sucks.
I think Walker will get it together, maybe not, but Landon Roop, he pitched 6 1/3. He got into the 7th inning. 5 strikeouts, 0 earned runs, only 2 walks, and then they lost.
And here's another thing. I don't want to see, honestly. There's a few guys I don't want to see anymore on the pitching staff. I love the pitching, but I don't want to see Eric Miller that much anymore because
they love him.
He scares me. And then the other guy, I know everyone loves him, but Tyler Rogers scares the crap out of me. I know that everyone loves him, but he always gives up a couple hits. And then here's who I do want to see. I want to see Randy Rodriguez.
Yes.
And I want to see him in the 8th or 9th inning.
He's been dominant all year. They need to give him a bigger role. Instead, they save those roles, the bigger setup roles for Eric Miller, Tyler Rogers, Ryan Walker. Those are the guys he goes with.
And I know why he goes with them. You know,
they're experienced.
These guys are experienced, but honestly, like the way I see this team moving forward, because obviously Justin Verlander, he's going to be gone, and even Robbie Ray. I mean, he's only got a few more, maybe a few. He's 33, so I think
he has. This is his last year of his contract. He's going to be a free agent.
I want to see Kyle Harrison. I want to see Landon Roop. I want to see Carson Wisenhunt, who is coming up soon. I want to see Logan Webb because I think he's the guy. Like, you keep Logan Webb, and I want to see either what's his name, Keaton Wynn, or the other dude that's been pitching well. There's one other guy,
Birdsong,
Tristan Beck,
and
Birdsong.
Birdsong's been great. I love what he's been doing. Bebop's all over this.
So we got a great. So this is what we have. Bebop. We got a great rotation moving forward. Great rotation. We got a great bullpen. Get the offense in order, and this team will win a World Series. I'm not joking. Get the offense in order, and this team can win the World Series in the next 5 years.
They need more offense, and that's been their biggest problem. Is they just can't hit the ball, and it's annoying and hard to watch.
I was pissed last night about that game because it's not just about Doval, it's about the fact that we were up 2-0 in the 3rd inning or 2nd inning, and we didn't even get a runner in scoring position the rest of the game.
I know.
That's unacceptable.
It is. It's completely unacceptable, and it's just tough to watch. So we'll see how the Giants bounce back after losing this last series. They should have won the series, really. They should have swept them. But offense continues.
They still got 2 games left in this series.
They do, huh?
Yeah, it's a 4-game series, dude. Like, they got a game tonight, and they got a game tomorrow afternoon. And I'm telling you, it's going to get away very quickly because the next, if you look at the schedule, the next 35 to 40 games, it's all against the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. And do not rule back the Diamondbacks because that team can hit. They can hit.
They can hit. So the Giants really need to figure it out offensively. The pitching has been carrying them. They've kept them in games, but that will only last so long if you don't back them up with hitting. So we'll see how that goes. Another thing I wanted to break to was oh, man. Was this news right here? Tom Thibodeau was fired by the New York Knicks. I thought, dude, this guy can't catch a break. This guy is like he's like the coach trainer, where he gets a team to a certain point and they go, okay, thank you. You're fired. All right, bring in this guy. Let's see if we win a championship. And this guy always gets fired. So what do you think about Tom Thibodeau getting the axe over in New York?
I'm not surprised.
I'm not either.
He ran the hell out of these guys to death. Like he did not have enough depth. Well, and that maybe that's not his fault. Maybe that's Leon Rose.
It's because the hairline,
dude. Bebop, this guy, he looks like he's always taking a shit on the side.
He does. He's
like always pissed. He did this in Chicago. You're absolutely right, dude. He did this in Chicago to a certain extent. He did it in Minnesota, where he got them kind of, ready to go. And now he did the same thing in New York. I think what he does, and I think something that I hate to say this, but Mark Jackson, good old Mark Jackson with us, like he did the same thing with the Warriors back in 2012, 2013. He got them to play defense.
Yeah.
And
he
Tom
implements
Thibodeau,
defense and discipline. And then they're like, they got that. Okay, get him out of here and get somebody else in here now. Okay, yeah.
He got them. And now I'm going to say something that might be a little bit off the wall, but I think the Warriors need to be on guard a little bit, because I do think New York may look at Steve Kerr, and I am not saying that it's going to happen by any stretch. I'm not saying that they've even made a phone call, although I know for a fact they've made a phone call. Steve Kerr is someone that they were coveting many years ago.
Oh, yes.
In 2014. And he actually chose the Knicks because of Phil Jackson at the time at first. And then he changed his mind and came to the Warriors. They will make a phone call to, Joe Lacob and see if, at least kick the tires on it, or maybe even make a phone call to Steve himself. But what they are going to do also over the offseason is they are looking at Kevin Durant. They are looking at Giannis Antetokounmpo. I mean, it's New York, and they know that they're maybe a piece or two away, so they need to go for it this year. And the only problem is, who the hell is left now in the coaching carousel? Who's left in the cycle?
I don't know.
The Phoenix Suns just hired Darren Ott today from the Cleveland Cavaliers, an assistant there. They got rid of their head coach, Mike Budenholzer, who's a drunk. They got rid of him. And, there's a few other openings, but really, who else is out there right now?
I mean, Budenholzer, he won a championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, but, he hasn't been good since then. I thought he was good the first year with the Atlanta Hawks when he took over.
Great.
He was great, and then that went to shit real fast. So whatever he does, I think works out early on, and then they just get tired of him, and then players just don't respond to him as time goes on. That's one thing I will say about Steve Kerr, is that I think the core players respond to him and respect him, and that's the difference between him and some of the coaches that are out there. Now, if we're talking about Jonathan Kuminga, maybe not, but
yeah,
Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, these guys love Steve Kerr, so we'll see how that plays out. But it is weird.
I don't feel sorry for him. If you're asking me if I feel sorry for him, no. Tom
Thibodeau? I don't give a fuck.
I don't feel sorry for him.
It didn't surprise me, though. It did not surprise me he got fired. I was like, yep, that's on par for Tom Thibodeau.
They ran out of gas. And it was evident to everyone to see that they had nothing in the tank in Game 6.
They were toast.
And they need to look. They need to, again, like the Giants do in different sport, but they need to look at their offense and really think about what kind of team that they want to be moving forward. Because if you give me a second to talk about the NBA Finals, which I want to,
go ahead,
dude. Indiana ran them off the floor. They just ran them right off the floor.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. I think Indiana literally just got the ball, even on made baskets, and they just ran the ball right down their throats. And New York had no answer for it.
No. Well, and we talked about this before, that Indiana is a deeper team, and they just have more bodies to throw at you. And they're, like I said, they're deeper. It allows them to go longer in the series, and they don't wear out. The Warriors, we thought for a minute there, hey, this is kind of a deeper team. Once Curry went down, we saw how shallow they were. And then Moses Moody, turns out he had to have surgery on his thumb for a torn tendon, which is why he was probably missing all those threes. And we were like, man, what the hell happened to this guy? He hurt himself. and that's why he wasn't the same. If he hadn't gotten hurt, maybe this whole thing changes. I don't know. However, if Curry didn't get hurt in the playoffs, I believe they'd have a shot at beating OKC.
You believe we would have gotten beat in 5 games.
We would have beaten Minnesota, though. I really do believe that we would have beaten Minnesota.
Yeah, I do too. But we would have got shellacked by OKC.
Probably. Okay, so let's switch gears again, and let's head over to the San Francisco 49ers, and let's talk about the big move that was made over the past week, which was the acquisition of Bryce Huff onto the defense of the San Francisco 49ers. This was big news. I was super excited about it. I went live with Sterling. I have a whole video about it. But, Drew, I wanted to ask you, what were your thoughts on the acquisition of Bryce Huff to the 49ers?
It gives me a little bit of Leonard Floyd, a little bit of that kind of a vibe, as far as, a guy that, because I mean, if you look at Bryce Huff last year, he did not play in the Super Bowl. So I mean, that's something that we have to consider here. He definitely wore out his welcome in Philadelphia, but he's got the opportunity to be maybe the best opposite pass rusher that we've had since D Ford, to go along with Nick Bosa. And this is why it's so exciting, because of what Robert Saleh is going to be doing this year with this team. He's bringing in guys that fit his system. You better believe he was part of this deal, and they are always looking to kick the tires on guys that may have, maybe their numbers decreased a little bit over the last few years. It's exactly what happened with Bryce Huff. But before last year and the year before that, he was a monster for that team. And I feel like, again, if he fits in the system, if he comes in with the right attitude, then and is able to adhere to the system that Robert Saleh is putting out on the field, then this could be a great find for the Niners. And they're showing now with Mikael Williams and a lot of other moves that they've made, they're going to have some depth again at the defensive line.
Absolutely. And we look at the numbers, too. This is since 2022. Okay, we know in 2024 he had a number of injuries. He even had a wrist injury, which in that picture right there, you can see his wrist is covered. He had a wrist injury he was dealing with. He didn't really fit into the Vic Fangio defense the way they thought he would. But he's better suited for the wide 9, which is what San Francisco does for how they play on their defense. So going back to 2022, looking at the stats is brought to you by Next Gen Stats. Bryce Huff has the number 2 quarterback pressure rate in the league, right behind Micah Parsons and ahead of Trey Hendrickson and Myles Garrett. And we're talking about a guy that only played in 7 games last season, that fell out of favor with the Philadelphia Eagles, who wasn't even a player that suited up during the Super Bowl. I mean, they were a freaking deep ass team anyway, so they were like, "Yeah, it's cool, dude. We don't really need you." They were so deep. They were stacked, and they still are now. But this right here goes to show you, if this was just 2022 numbers, then I'd say, hey, there's potential there. But no, this is since 2022. Mm-hmm. So even with
it's cumulative since 2022.
Even with the bad season last season, he's still ranked number 2 in overall pressure rates. So to me, this is what you're looking for. It's a low risk move. When you look at the breakdown of what the trade entails, we're looking at, they get Bryce Huff in 2025. They're paying him $7.95 million. And then in 2016, it's $17 million if he sticks around, which they probably would restructure or do something else if they want to keep this guy. The Eagles, they get a 2026 fifth-round pick. Philly takes on dead cap hits of $4.93 million, and next year $16.61 million. They just wanted to move off this guy because he wasn't a fit for their system. Now, you got a lot of Eagle fans out there that were like, "Oh, well, they're taking our trash. We fleeced them." No, that's not the case. They were looking for a trade partner for Bryce Huff. They wanted to get him out of there. He wasn't a fit for them.
He wasn't happy there.
He wasn't happy. They were literally trying to trade him during the draft, and they had a higher asking price during the draft. The Niners waited until after the draft where his asking price went down, and then they were able to make the move and make it happen. Now he adds much more depth to our defensive line. Now you can run a NASCAR package with Bryce Huff. Mikael Williams can slide to the inside playing defensive tackle. And then you have opposite Nick Bosa as well. And when you look at this lineup, right? When you look at that lineup where, let's say you have Bryce Huff, Mikael Williams, Alfred Collins, Nick Bosa. When you look at the length, the size, the dimensions of these players, it reminds me an awful lot of our defensive line in 2019 when we had D Ford, Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner, Nick Bosa. And I think they've sort of recreated those guys through the draft and acquiring Bryce Huff. Now, are they going to be as good as that defensive line was? I don't know. But the dimensions of these players, the height, weight, length, skills, we're looking at a defensive line that could be as terrifying as the 2019 Niners were.
And that defensive line absolutely carried that team that year. And they got off to, I remember, it was either an 8 or 9-0 start that season.
Yeah.
And with the schedule, we've talked about it ad nauseum. We don't need to go into the schedule because
let's break down the schedule one more time.
I know you've done that so many times on the show.
So many times.
But this team, again, they have a real opportunity, again, with Robert Saleh because of that energy and fire that he brings. And the fact that he's going to bring this group together. We've got guys that have played in this system for a little while, that they understand it. And that's one of the reasons why they made sure to come back to Saleh's system. Because the wide nine, because they knew that Kyle Shanahan knew that they are still in the Super Bowl window, that they still have an opportunity based on exactly what has happened with Brock Purdy, with how the whole contract worked out, with how they were able to save money during his rookie contract, with how they were, even though they lost DeForest Buckner, even though they lost Eric Armstead, they've been able to hang on to the pillars of this team. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey, now Brock Purdy. I think their defensive backs are going to be really good this year. I'm so excited to see, just another year of development. And I think this team has a chance to be really special.
I really do.
And this move just takes them, again, it's a slight move. It's kind of like D4 that year. It's a slight move that maybe not everybody's going crazy about, but it can really make a difference. And if they get off to a great start this year, watch out.
Yeah. Especially with this schedule as well. I mean, look, I still think that they are a bit thin at receiver. I would like to see them bring in a veteran receiver like an Amari Cooper or somebody just to help bolster up that receiving room. But we'll see what they do. They still have some more cap space. They still have some more time to bring in another player. I still think they bring in one more player, may it be a safety or a receiver. They're going to bring in one more. I mean, Justin Simmons is still out there. We know that Mal Mustafa will not be ready at the start of the year. You need to have somebody out there at safety to kind of spell, Mustafa while he recovers. And then in the meantime, if Jair Brown continues to struggle, when Mustafa comes back, maybe Mustafa takes over for Jair Brown and you leave Justin Simmons out there. There's a lot of options for San Francisco to bring in.
But just a guy like Diamador Lenore, like just the idea of him just continuing to develop.
Oh, yeah. Renardo Green. And look, at OTAs, there was some heads out there that said that Renardo Green, didn't play very well at OTAs, that he was getting kind of abused out there by Juwan Jennings and some of the receivers. You got to remember, too, Renardo Green is a man coverage guy. Yeah. He's all about physicality, putting your hands on, bumping at the line. When he can't touch you, then he can't. That's not his game. So I think that's something that people need to remember about Renardo Green. But not only that, but they have a guy in Upton Stout. I was calling Justin Upton.
And that's Upton the guy that everyone's talking about.
He's going to be really good. And I think Stout is going to end up being your slot corner.
He's gotten rave reviews. And I look at it as far as OTAs go, just to go back to that, I look at it and say, I like to hear that Juwan Jennings is abusing somebody. Like that makes, like I always look on the positive that, oh my God, like we got, JJ, this guy is a beast now. And like I mentioned last week, his confidence, just having like that kind of a breakout season, he's going to be a monster this year. And it just makes me feel a lot more comfortable about the wide receiver room, even though Brandon Aiyuk is weird. And I think we're going to talk about that a little bit.
Oh yeah. No, we're definitely going to talk about that. But the one thing, too, going back to Bryce Huff that I'm really excited about is that the fact that you bring him in, it puts less pressure on Michael Williams to be that defensive end that has to get pressure on the quarterback on third down. Adding a guy like Bryce Huff allows Michael Williams to, at times, move into the interior, stay on the outside. But it allows him more flexibility and more time to develop into that defensive end or just defensive lineman that you want him to be. You don't don't have to be that guy where it's like, hey, on third down, he's not getting pressure on the quarterback. What's going on? We got to work with him. We got to push him. He's not getting to where we want him to get to. Now he can do it on his, kind of take his time getting there because you got Bryce Huff who's going to be out there on third down. And so this is such a great move for San Francisco. And we look at the numbers. This makes a whole lot of sense. I know that he did not have a good season last year with the Eagles. He only had like 2.5 sacks, played in 7 games. Did have a number of injuries, but I think he's really going to bounce back here in San Francisco. Guys, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the Brandon Aiyuk drama that took place yesterday and what our thoughts are on his career, his future with the San Francisco 49ers. Guys, you're watching the Dre Area Sports Show with Drew and Dre live on YouTube. And guys, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Dre Area Sports Show live on YouTube and X. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe.
The Dre Area Sports Show is brought to you by SeatGeek. Use promo code Dre Area Sports to save $20 on your first purchase at SeatGeek.com. And we are also brought to you by Taryn Roy, the SEO Optimizer. If you're looking to boost your YouTube channel, then check out the SEO Optimizer. Use promo code Dre Area Sports to start your free trial today. Power Brand Systems. If you're looking to build a website for your small business or YouTube channel, then check out Power Brand Systems. Use promo code 300POWER to save up to $300 on your first purchase at Power Brand Systems.
We got more news coming out of OTAs. We're going to go to that right now. And here it is. Trent Williams is back at OTAs. He's back at the facility. I know he wasn't there for the first round of OTAs, but he's back at the facility. This, to me, sends another great message for San Francisco. What?
I love Big T. That's my boy, man.
This sends a great message for the Niners that, like, look, last year he had contract disputes. He wasn't there for OTAs. He wasn't there for most of preseason. But, look, he's already in the building like a lot of these guys are, and he's there to help lead this team to hopefully a Super Bowl or a playoff contention this year. I'm excited to hell to hear that Trent Williams is back. What does this mean to you, Drew, to hear that Trent Williams is back in the facility?
Just more continuity, more of that, that feeling that we're togetherness. It's the opposite of what we experienced last year at this time when we were doing this show, when we were talking about Brandon Aiyuk and Trent Williams both holding out, not being part of OTAs, not being there for any of the organized activities for this team, and for Big T to be there. Hopefully he's in shape. I know last year he was not in shape, which really affected our team.
Yeah, I don't think he was in peak shape. I don't.
He wasn't, and he was by week 2-3 he was already gassed. So I think it's a great move. It's a great feeling. It makes me feel so much more comfortable and better about this season. And this guy wants to win a Super Bowl. Trent Williams, like he's not fucking around. No. And again, I'm going to say it all year. The Super Bowl is in our house this year.
Yes.
It's in our house. I don't know if people realize that. It's in our house this year. So this team, man, everything is leading towards a destiny, a team of destiny. Just kind of like the Rams a few years ago, where they were able to win a Super Bowl in their home stadium, even though probably 75% of the people weren't even fans of the team. They still won a Super Bowl at home.
They probably weren't. And guys, real quick, if you want to support the channel, you can do so by joining us over on Patreon. The link is down below. I post news and updates on Patreon, articles as well that I'm starting to write, and of course, you get early access to videos. All of that is over on the Patreon, so join us on Patreon and help support the channel. Or you can go to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships under Dre Area Sports, which will also give you access to my own online community where I post news, updates, videos, all kinds of stuff, all of which are part of the membership that comes with the membership. So definitely check out nicotina.net and become a member under Dre Area Sports, or just go to Patreon, look up Dre Area Sports, and join right there, and you get access to all the content that I provide pretty much every single day, which I'm really big on.
I'm a fan. I'm a second, I think, fan member. So I'm a second tier member on this thing, and I love it. And I get your news before I get anything else. Yeah.
Woo! Yeah.
I got.
That's what I'm talking about.
I got
That's what I'm talking
$5. I got $5 a month.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so we're now going to move on to our next topic, which is kind of a big one. It's the Brandon Aiyuk drama. There's some good, there's some bad, and most of us are wondering what the fuck is going on with Brandon Aiyuk. Let's talk about that. So he posted this yesterday, and this is just drama. This is like Kevin Durant kind of drama. Remember how Kevin Durant used to post weird shit on social media? It was like, dude, just ignore people, but he can't do that.
He can't. He's a little bitch.
So he says, y'all crybaby ass divas be killing the vibes on IG. And he said, SMH, shake my head. It gotta be an age limit on hating. If you're 30 years or older, just post your kids and shut the fuck up.
Oh my God.
So he's pushing back to
just get ready. Here's my advice to you. Get ready for the season.
Just get ready for the season.
Get ready for the season. Get healthy, and stop being these prima donna. I'm so tired of the prima donna wide receivers. I've had enough. Like we talked about TJ Houshmandzadeh the other day. He was like that too. Like they're all the same. Chad Ochocinco, Johnson, Antonio Brown. Don't forget about Antonio Brown. With
how could you forget that? He took his jersey off.
His feet froze. And then he,
gross.
And then he got, what happened on a hot air balloon? He got like lost in a hot air balloon or something.
I don't know.
He was just weird. And
now he's a troll. Now he's a professional troll on X. That's all he does now.
So I do not want, and this post is, to me, like I know it's not a huge deal, but it's not a good sign. When I saw this, I'm like, this is not a good sign, because what this means is that he's bored. He's bored.
He's bored.
And you shouldn't. And when you're bored, I don't care how much money you make. I don't care what profession you're in. You and I were talking about this earlier. We got a friend who's bored. Okay. Being bored is not good, because that means you are not taking care of your business. You do not have goals. You do not have a future. You do not have structure. And what we need from Brandon Aiyuk is to get himself back as soon as possible, and not be Deebo Samuel like last year. Deebo Samuel was talking shit all year, and then he dropped the biggest pass of the year when we needed him the most.
Yeah, he ran his mouth, and then he put his foot in his mouth. I was like, dude, what are you doing?
And he got in a fight with the long snapper.
Taper Pepper.
So it's like, okay, we're not going to do that this year. And Kyle Shanahan, he has to stay on this, and John Lynch, they need to be monitoring this, because I'm telling you right now, it's been a drama-free offseason so far.
Until this guy starts posting all this bullshit. And then he posted this as well. He posted this.
Oh my God.
Now if for everyone who doesn't know, Terrell Owens, when he played for the Eagles, he got into an argument with Andy Reid. Andy Reid suspended him. He then left the facility and started doing workouts, sit-ups on his front driveway and answering questions to the media. So why on earth would Brandon Aiyuk post this picture? What is he trying to say right now? Is he just posting because he thought it was funny? Or is there a meaning behind this?
This is what I'm talking about. This guy, this is why I was saying last year they should have traded him. And I know it didn't work out. I would have loved to have Amari Cooper. If I could do that, if I could go back and do that right now, I would have done it. I know Cleveland wasn't in the right space for it. Okay, great. But if we could have gotten rid of him to Buffalo or something, I would have done it right away, because this is his mindset. This is the way he thinks. I'm not saying he's a bad guy. I'm not saying he's a bad person. From all I've heard about him, he's actually a pretty good guy. But if you go back and think about the history of Brandon Aiyuk with this franchise, when he was first drafted out of Arizona State, he had issues with Kyle Shanahan in his first 2 years.
Yep.
Big issues. Kyle did not, for some reason, whatever Kyle was saying was not coming. It was not getting through to him, and it took him a couple of years, 2, even 3 years, to be able to figure it out. And it's great that he did. And you know what? I'm fine. I'm happy that he got his money. I'm never going to tell someone not to get their money. You get your Skrilla, you enjoy it, but this scene with T.O., I remember it like yesterday, and he had Drew Rosenhaus there answering questions also.
Yeah, remember that? This
is not what we need right now. I would rather just have Ricky Pearsall and Jawan Jennings and whoever else we can pick up off the scrap heap, Robinson, and be fine with it. I do not want to deal with this. And he may not be back anyway this year. So who knows what's going to happen?
Who knows? And then that went from this. He also posted this on YouTube, which I'm like, I don't know. I guess in the comment section, that's what I heard. He posted, they want to play cool now. Nah. No, I want the smoke still. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what he's trying to get at. He's bored.
Or does he want to trade?
Well, that's what another thing I want to talk about is that do you think that he's hinting at, that he wants them to trade him? But we already went down this road last season. And at this point, without Deebo Samuel as a receiver, not that he's the best ever, but you kind of can't get rid of him unless you bring somebody else in to replace him. If you just get rid of him like outright, then your receiving core is down a receiver. It'd be one thing like Trent Taylor, he went IR. Oh, well.
Yes.
This is a guy you can't really just give up for nothing.
We can't give him up for nothing. We have to get, if we're going to trade him, we need to get something in return. But right now, he's not tradable. At least from my perspective, he's not. So they made their own bed. John Lynch and the organization, when they re-signed him last year, when they gave him that contract, they made their own bed with him. I think they knew to a certain extent what they were getting into. I do think that they're going to be able to get him in when he needs to get in there, just like he did last year. The question is what kind of player is he going to be? That's why I always come back to that. What kind of player is he going to be? Is he going to be anything close to the Brandon Aiyuk that we saw in 2023? Are we going to see that again?
I don't know if we can. I mean, I don't even know how he looks. I haven't even seen him run. His mom was like, "Oh, he's running, he's jumping, he's great." But it's like, no.
His mom and his parents are kind of weird too. He's just they're not kind of the way this may sound bad, but they're not 49ers. I don't feel like he's a 49er.
I thought his mom was a 49er fan. His mom is a diehard Niner fan. He wasn't, but his mom is.
He doesn't
that
feel like
sense.
a 49er to me. He just doesn't feel like he wants to be part of this organization moving forward. And it scares me because that even one iota of negativity coming into that locker room can make a difference.
I think that, if you're Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch, you just got to pull them aside and say, hey, man, keep that shit out of here. Don't be posting all that weird shit. Just be a leader. Now, there is some good news that's been coming out of camp that's sort of the opposite of what we've been hearing about. So we got this. This is courtesy of NBC Sports 49ers. It says Brandon Aiyuk has taken on a coaching role while he continues his ACL rehab. He's seen it from a player's perspective, but sitting in that meeting room now, I've said to him, Brandon, you can be here and be my coach. You can be my assistant. He loves that because he can coach up the guys and help, and he helps big time with that. So just mentally, it's been one of the biggest things for him.
Who wrote that? Dude, I need to edit that.
It could have been my reading too. So
okay, that does not sound like proper English.
He's been in meetings and coaching up on the mental part. As far as seeing it from the film, he's also been doing a great job in meetings, having an extra set of eyes on for myself. I'll ask him questions and have him coach up the guys. This is courtesy of 49ers coach Leonard Hankerson. So, that being said, Brandon Aiyuk has been very present at meetings, OTAs, and been able to talk to the guys, but obviously he's still rehabbing from his torn ACL when he got his knee blown out by the Chiefs. That was the last, freaking smack in the face by the Chiefs. Like, oh, we beat you again, and we took out your number one receiver. See you later.
Yeah, and then they just...
See you, losers.
At least they got smacked in the Super Bowl.
Oh, I loved it. I loved every minute of it.
Yeah, it was so good. But this is, it's good news. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, just get yourself back on the field. That is your purpose right now, is to get yourself back on the field as soon as you possibly can, and to make sure that you're strong and that your knee is going to be able to hold up for the entire season or whenever you come back. We have an easier schedule this year, so I don't feel like they need to rush him back. I feel like they need to make sure that he's right. I think last year he just I thought in my opinion, like coming off of a long playoff run, being in the Super Bowl where God, it still haunts me. He was wide open in the end zone in overtime.
Yeah,
they didn't throw him the ball. I know Purdy got pressured by Chris Jones, and the rest is history. But man, he was not in good shape last year. He was not ready to go. And you saw it right off the jump opening week, he was not himself, and then I think that definitely contributed to his injury. So they really need to make sure that he is ready to go, and if he's not, then they can wait until week 6. They can wait until week 8 if they need to.
Yeah, and they might have to. I don't think he'll be ready even by week 3. I think he's a week 5, week 6 at best, but you never know. I knew something was wrong when in week 1 when this happened right here. Check this out.
For the Jets and not giving up a touchdown down here before the half.
Sauce Gardner back out
Look at
there
this
for
throw.
the Jets. Second down, end zone. Now you
All right.
can't make the catch.
I want to talk about this play for a minute.
That was the one where I was like, "Oh, you motherfucker!"
He wasn't ready, and when we say Tim Ryan talked about this, I remember him talking about it during that week. When you talk about guys that hold out and do not, it pisses me off to talk about it, when they do not report to camp, when they do not participate in OTAs, when they do not get the reps that they need. Those are the mistakes that you see happen. It's not so much the mental mistakes. It's those again, the plays like the diving catch in the corner that he would make 99 out of 100 times. He did not make that play. And yes, I was also equally concerned because it was right in his hands. But those are the toughest plays to make when you do not get the reps that you need. And
look at that.
Any wide receiver coach will tell you that. Any coach will tell you that. Any broadcaster will tell you that. So this year, it's going to be a lot of the same when it comes to him because he's going to be coming in late. So they need to get him the reps that he needs and make sure that and again, Ricky Pearsall got shot last year.
He got shot.
So
that's pretty brutal.
Hopefully, crossing my fingers that some dude from Tracy doesn't shoot him again in San Francisco. Or don't go to San Francisco, Ricky.
Yeah, don't go to
Stay
Union
home.
Square. Just don't go there.
Ricky, I will buy all your Christmas gifts this year.
Yeah.
Just
I haven't been there in years, and there's a reason why.
Stay away from the city because right now it's a disaster over
We
there.
used to get a great deal to stay at the Westin in Union Square.
Handlery? Stay at the Handlery?
The Handlery Hotel. We don't go there. We don't go there anymore. It's not safe. What's up, CG Ruthless?
And we have kids now, so we can't bring our kids there.
Yeah. My kid's gonna get shot? No way. I shouldn't have said that. I should not have said that.
I took my daughter to a Giants game earlier this year, and we were walking in on 3rd Street. No, we were walking on Branham, and we were before, where you're walking and you go past some of the bars and stuff.
Yeah.
And there were like homeless people everywhere. There was like shit everywhere. And my daughter looked at me and said, "Daddy, why does it smell so bad here?"
Yeah, because you got to step over.
And I said, "Honey, just keep your head up and hold Daddy's hand, and we'll be fine."
Dude, you got to step over needles and fecal matter and homeless people.
And tents. My son was asking me about the tents. I said, "It's okay. People camp outside in cities now."
It's just crazy. The whole thing is crazy.
So Ricky, stay away from San Francisco.
Yes, don't go there.
Because my point is that we need you. We need you to be fully engaged in our offense. We need you to get a full offseason. And because of that, it doesn't worry me as much about Aiyuk because we're going to have a full offseason from Ricky Pearsall. Yeah.
Well, I mean, hopefully he's not at OTAs because he hurt his hamstring. And this guy, he is injury prone, and he hasn't shaken that. You know what? I can't really call him that because he got shot. And it wasn't his. Well, I mean, he did fight back. I would have just been like, "Here, take my watch. I don't care."
I just think he's too small. And the more I watched him, he reminds me. I feel like he could possibly turn into a guy like Cooper Kupp. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to be as good as Cooper Kupp, but it's that same size. There's something off with him that they're going to have to figure out this year.
They are. And then there was a lot of comments that came out yesterday from the coaches because the coaches had their pressers with the media. So definitely check out my account over on X. I'll be posting more over on Patreon as well. Little clips here and there. They talked about a lot of good things. None of which talked about Christian McCaffrey being slow. So we'll put that out there. Yeah. But no, so definitely check that out. There was some more moves here that I did want to talk about, which is the roster moves. Let me go ahead and bring this up wherever the hell it went. There we go. Trent Taylor was placed on injury reserve. and Nicholas Petit-Frere was waived, offensive lineman. And they did bring in a couple other guys, but already they're making moves. And Trent Taylor, look, I don't think he's really much of anything anymore in his career.
Maybe
he's
a
really,
punt returner.
well, he is good friends with George Kittle. He's good friends with players in the team, so I think he's more of a culture guy. That's why I have him around, because he's at the facility. Everybody knows him. So he will not be joining us. Who knows if he'll even be back this season? I don't know. I don't know the extent of his IR. But they did make those moves yesterday. And they also brought in a defensive end named Taron Jackson, who they were kind of big about. And they brought in a receiver from Minnesota, Knowles. His first name was like Maurice Knowles, I think, something like that.
Yeah.
And
Maybe
still,
he's
he's
filling out the practice squad.
Yeah, he's on the practice squad. He's not anyone that's going to be of any consequence. So then there's that. Okay, so we're up against the hour here. I wanted to go into one last segment. I was going to play a bunch of clips, but we're kind of running short on time. So what I want to do is I want to jump to our last topic, which is something that I think we could really elaborate on, which is, what is your worst moment in Bay Area sports history that you have experienced yourself? I will answer this question, and so will you. What is your worst moment?
All right. So there's so many. There's so many for me. Being a Bay Area kid, growing up here.
There used to not, though. When I was a kid, I used to think, man, I don't even have any bad memories. And as you get older, you're like, fuck.
I mean, I don't know, man. Some of them were when I was young, but there weren't as many. I think because you and I are about the same age, there weren't as many in the 80s, because like the only thing I would say in the 80s that would have hurt was the Giants losing to the A's in the Bay Bridge series. But they were just better than us, and they got to pitch Dave Stewart and Mike Moore twice. So because of the earthquake, that was, and I was too young at that time. And then, I could easily go to 2002, but I have a feeling another person on this show might talk about that. So I'm gonna leave that one alone. For me, it's blatant, it's obvious, and it's something that still haunts me to this day. And it's Game 7 of the 2016 NBA Finals. It's the Warriors. It's the Cavs.
I was there.
Yeah, you were there because I let you have my tickets, which I should have sold.
That was horrible.
Okay, so I'm going to give you a couple of reasons why it was the worst. Okay, number one, they were 73-9.
I know.
And they had the greatest season in NBA history, and they had the two-time MVP, and they had a chance to bookend the greatest season in the history of sports. Not the NBA, the history of sports. I mean, maybe the Miami Dolphins of 1972, but I know the Patriots had a chance. They lost the Super Bowl. Very similar kind of story in 2007. But this one was there. We had the best team, obviously. Steph Curry gets hurt a couple times in that postseason, and
the elbow, the knee,
it just kind of like put us off. And then of course Draymond gets suspended because he kicks Steven Adams in the nuts. He tomahawks LeBron James in the nuts. We go up 3-1 in the finals. Still,
that was the worst part.
I mean, I should say we came back from 3-1 to beat OKC, which you and I were at that Game 7.
Yeah, that was
against
great.
OKC. Great game. We go up 3-1, and Draymond gets suspended. And Draymond I remember he had to go to the A's game next door with Bob Myers to watch it. And that game, LeBron James and Kyrie Irving, they just woke up. They both had 41 points in that Game 5. And I remember I was on a flight to Korea because I was going there with my wife at the time, and we were going to visit her family. And I remember being on the plane during Game 5 and waiting. They didn't have Wi-Fi, so when I got off the plane, I saw the score, and I remember the score to this day. You can check this. It was 112-87. 112-97. 112-97. It was 112-97. I remember it. You can look it up. I get there, and I looked at my phone, and I looked at my baby because Olivia was 1.
Yeah.
And I'm like, fuck. everyone looked at me and they're like, why are you swearing in Korea with a baby in your head? I'm like, oh, no reason, whatever. But I'm like, for some reason, I felt like an ick in my stomach. Like, oh shit, we got to go back to Cleveland now. We go back to Cleveland, Game 6, and we. This is a long-winded answer, but I'm giving it to you because it hurt that much.
This was the breakdown.
This is
Steph Curry throwing the mouthpiece.
Steph Curry throws the mouthpiece. We make a run in the fourth quarter, but not enough. Okay, so we come back for Game 7, and my idiot, my dumbass, like, I'm going to let Dre go to the game because, like, we don't need to sell the tickets. I should have sold the game because it's like, even if they win, okay, it's great. But if they lose, why would you want to be there?
That was a tough one. I was just like, man, if they lose, it's going to suck.
Draymond goes off in the first half. He hits like 6 threes in the first half. He scores like 25 points in the first half. And it's one of those nip and tuck games because game 7s are always just nervous. And we get to the fourth quarter and we're up like 77, 73. And they just stop scoring.
Yeah.
We didn't score. The greatest team in NBA history does not score the last 5 minutes of the game.
Not only that, but it was a hack of Ezeli. They kept fouling Festus Ezeli, and they wouldn't. They couldn't get him out of the game. I was like, why is he in the game?
And he was guarding LeBron and they were getting him and they were getting him on. They were switching.
I thought Kerr got outcoached in that last game.
He did,
and it was simple shit. Like, Ezeli's out there, switch on him.
He just wasn't ready for that game. He was not ready to coach that game at that time of his career. And then LeBron with the block on Iguodala, and then Kyrie with the 3. And that game hurt more than and even though they had won the year before, for some reason, it was the fact they won all those games. It was we wanted the repeat. That hurt more than anything. But it ended up getting us Kevin Durant.
It did.
We ended up getting Kevin Durant out of that, and when you look back on it, we ended up getting the vindication of 2022.
Oh, we kicked the shit out of them too.
Curry wins it without Durant. Curry wins it on his own. So it all came in the wash. But that one hurt. Like, I was crying after that game.
It was pretty rough. I mean, when you were like where we were sitting to in your seats, there was the aisleway that's like right next to us. The next section over was the traveling Cleveland Cavaliers fan section, and they were just uproar. Yeah, they were just like, oh my god, it was rough.
There's no worse feeling as a sports fan than losing a game 7 in a championship at home. There's no worse feeling.
There's no worse feeling.
It's the worst. It's the
absolutely
worst
terrible
thing in the world because when you go into a game 7, whether it be the NHL or the NBA or baseball, you expect to win that game.
Yeah.
And I could only say the similar feeling would probably be the Kansas City Royals in 2014 when we beat them. They probably felt sick too to their stomachs.
And they were at the runner at third.
And I felt like they should have sent Alex Gordon. But anyways, it's your turn.
I would have sent him. There's a lot of bad ones. I agree. Game 7 with Warriors and Cavs was probably one of the worst ever. Being at the game in person was like. Before Kyrie hit that shot, I remember there was a guy in front of me, and he turns around and he looks at us and he goes, "Hey, bro," he goes, "Hey, bro, next team to make a shot, that's ball game, huh?" Like pretty much. And right when he said that, we look at the game. Kyrie hits the 3.
Isn't it funny? You'll always think about that motherfucker.
I will. I was like, you fucking jinxed it, you motherfucker. 2019 was really bad. Both Super Bowl losses, all 3 Super Bowl losses for the Niners were really, really bad.
Of course.
2012 was really bad because they got all the way down the goal line. They couldn't get it in. But for me, the one that hit home the hardest was Game 6 of the 2002 World Series. The Giants were up 5-0, and they lose to the Anaheim
Barry
Angels.
Bonds is going to get his World Series.
The Angels rally back and beat the Giants, and then they go to Game 7, and by then it was already over.
And that stupid monkey.
Oh, the rally monkey. Another horrible thing to hear, too, was that during that game, towards the end of the game, when they still had the lead, Rich Aurelia went back into the locker room to go use the bathroom or to get something, and they were putting up all the plastic tarps and everything, and they're like, oh, you can't come in here, you can't come in here. And he saw the tarps, he saw the ice buckets and everything, he was like, oh, all right. And then after the game was over, they went back in there. He said all that stuff was gone.
And don't forget about Dusty Baker taking the ball from Russ Ortiz.
No, he gave him the ball.
Giving him the ball. Taking the ball and then giving it back to him.
That pissed off the Angels. They said it in comments. They were like, when we saw him do that, we were like, fuck that.
Stupid team. Scott Spezio. Ugh. Why couldn't Felix Rodriguez just throw a breaking ball?
Darren Erstad.
Go back and watch that at bat.
Ben Weber. Remember him?
Oh, my God. Troy Percival.
Oh.
Brendan Donnelly. Tim Salmon.
Tim Salmon. I like Tim Salmon though.
Remember what he said? That's the furthest ball I've ever seen hit.
Oh, you know what else is shitty? After we lost that World Series, I had the MLB .TV, right? And I'm watching, it was maybe like, I don't know, 6 years later. And I'm watching an Angels game because I put it on. I forgot who they were playing. And their announcers were like, yeah, it's funny. I was recently talking with Tim Salmon. And you know what he told me? What did he tell you? He said, his career had its ups and downs, but what topped everything off was winning that World Series in 2002 on Chance Channel. Fuck you. And the reason why that one hurt so bad is because that was a magical season. Me and my friends were all gathered up at a friend's house drinking beer, celebrating, and then it just like a punch to the gut.
We were like 21. We were like 20.
Yeah, we were so young. And then we hadn't had a really bad moment. I mean, yeah, the Niners lost to the Cowboys in the playoffs and the Packers, but this was just such a gut punch. And at the time, we hadn't won a World Series in like 50 years. So it was
at that time, it was 1954. I think the thing that also hurt so much about that game was for me was the fact that Dusty Baker, he was such a lovable.
Oh, I know. It was never the same after that.
Everybody, and really, I mean, obviously Bruce Bochy, like what he did for our organization, like no one will ever forget that. But Dusty Baker was a special manager, man. He really was, and so that season will never, ever, ever be forgotten. And everybody hated Barry Bonds, but that was his chance to win a World Series.
That was his chance. That was it.
And he did everything he could.
He even hit a home run. He hit a home run in Game 6.
He was amazing. He hit one of the longest home runs against Percival and a monster against K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez. But ultimately, it came down to the pitching. Just didn't hold up. And then in Game 7, I know Game 7 was they were going to lose anyway, but I'll never forget Dusty Baker. He had Pedro Feliz in the starting lineup, and they asked him why Pedro Feliz as the DH, and he goes, "Because I had a hunch."
And he could have played Sean Dunston.
Sean Dunston with a home run in Game 6.
And he went with Pedro Feliz, who struck out. He was 0 for 3.
I would have even been better with Chiyoshi Shinjo. Anybody,
not Pedro Feliz, and that's a microcosm of the rest of his career too.
Just very disappointing. But you know what? It all got just like mine with the Warriors. It all came out in the wash in 2010, 2012, 2014.
Yeah. But at the time, it was pretty bad. And then I know that Tommy Huxley said that it was 2019. So as you part ways, as we end the show, I did want to bring this up. This is the fateful moment where we lost. When he had Emmanuel Sanders open downfield, and he overthrew him.
That was the microcosm of Jimmy Garoppolo's career.
Yeah, and it sucked because everybody was like, Jimmy's going to cost him the Super Bowl. I'm like, no, he won't. And I was like, God damn it, you fucking loser.
Yeah, well, it also, you know what? Go back to our safeties and allowing Tyreek Hill to be wide open on a pass, 3rd and 15.
What's funny about that last play we just saw is that the corner that was guarding Emmanuel Sanders was Charvarius Ward.
I know. Dude,
of course.
It's I will say this, that the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, the second Super Bowl against the Chiefs in Vegas, I think I've told this story before, but what's up, Papa J?
Papa J,
when I was in Arizona watching that game, because I was there for like a stupid softball tournament. Don't ask me why, but I was watching the game at a bar, and then I was at the airport when the game ended because my flight was leaving. So I'm watching the game at an airport, and I see that the Niners kick a field goal, and then they go down, and of course, they hit the jackpot on that stupid little, reverse or whatever they ran to win the game. And I literally went to the bathroom and I punched the wall, and I almost broke my hand.
Oh my God.
I was so angry. That was not it was not heartache. It was anger, because we dominated that game, every facet of that game, and we should have won that game 35-10.
This is the first one or the second one?
The second one.
We dominated that game.
The Vegas game.
We actually dominated the first one too, and then at the end they just.
That one was not as much because we didn't have the offense.
Spags always does well against a Kyle Shanahan offense. And then when he went against the Eagles, he got smashed.
Oh.
So,
Well, he
it's
just
like-
didn't have the personnel. But another play that really hurt in that 2019 game, a lot of people forget about this play. George Kittle down the sideline at the end of the first half.
Oh yeah,
They call
the
it
push
offensive
off.
pass interference.
That was
They would have either scored a touchdown or they would have at least gotten a field goal to end that half.
yeah.
And it would have made a big difference in that game.
Yeah.
Anyways, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
Coulda, woulda, shoulda. Hopefully this year, Drew been there, done that.
Hopefully you and I, Dre, will, hopefully Papa J's like I've done that before. We will definitely be at the Super Bowl this year in Santa Clara. I'm going to get us tickets. If the
Let's
Niners
do it.
make
I'm down. We'll get
I
a
mean,
media
what-
pass.
No, you're going to have to pay me back in installments for 60 years, but we'll do it, man.
Let's do it. I'm down. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. I want to thank everyone who came out here. Papa J, Tommy Huxley, Mr. Joe, and everyone else who's in the chat. We're 78 watching right now. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports, or simply go to Patreon and join us over on the Patreon. It starts as low as like $3, and you get access to news, updates, articles, videos, early access videos, all the same stuff you get over on my website. You'll get it over on Patreon as well. The link is down below in the description. Also, we have a link for the tip jar. If you don't want to do any of those things, you just want to leave us a tip of $1, $2, whatever you want to do, the tip jar link is there. You can leave whatever amount you want to show appreciation and support for the Dre Area Sports Show. Guys, that's going to do it for the show. We'll be back again next week at 11 a.m. Pacific time for the Dre Area Sports Show with Drew and Dre. Until then, go Niners. Giants,
Giants, get a hit.
get a hit. Hit the fucking ball.
I'm gonna
And
be in
figure it
Denver.
out.
I'm gonna be in Denver next week, following the Giants. So hopefully, I bring up some good luck.
I
I'll
hope
be
you
with
do.
you on the road, man.
I know. I'm excited about that too. Guys, and stay tuned later today at 6 p.m. Pacific time. I'm going to be on with Raj of our SF Niners, and we're going to be talking about the Brandon Aiyuk drama and more San Francisco 49ers news. It's a big guest having Raj from our SF Niners on the show. That'll be later today at 6 p.m. here on the Dre Area Sports Show. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe over on YouTube. Follow me on X and Instagram, or you can join us on Patreon or at my website, which is nicotina.net. Guys, from Drew, from Dre, thank you to everyone tuning in. And until next time, like I said, go Niners. Go Giants.
Get a hit.
Get a hit. And we'll see you guys next week. Thank you for watching this video. If you want more of this content, then check out some of these recommended videos right here on your screen. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to support the channel, you can do so by going to my website, which is nicotina.net, and there are memberships available under Dre Area Sports.